New year, new moves, new episode, new season of Gloves Off. Hi, my name is Chris. I'm your host of Gloves Off. That other Smash Bros. Podcast that you may have heard of by accident or on purpose, I don't know. But Koopa, we're coming off of, I guess, what is the easily the biggest Smash tournament so far for Ultimate, and yeah, that's where we're at currently. Off and moving already.
Yep, and let me be the last one to wish you a happy new year and the first one to wish you a happy Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year. That's also today.
It's 2019. It's crazy.
Dude, it feels like just yesterday, 2019 was just a thought in our imagination, and then here it
Bro,
is, a full-blown reality.
it's like it was yesterday.
Just And hey, hi Devin.
Hi.
Hello. You were also making some moves this weekend as well. We all were. And still sort of recovering, quite honestly. This I will say, as someone who is involved with the production, both Devin and myself, like the amount of prep from last week, like it almost feels like it kind of came and went, and then this week, I don't know, like how are you feeling? I know you were a little bit sick afterward.
Yeah, I kind of worked myself into some sickness. Still recovering a little bit, but definitely on the come up, so it's all fine. But yeah, my voice sounds a little bit different if you can't tell. But yeah, doing all right. 2019 gonna be a sick year. Good way to end it.
Dude,
2018.
it was actually a really good way to end it. And for anyone, I guess if you're listening to a Smash Brothers podcast at all, and if you haven't heard of the Let's Make Move tournaments that just happened over the past weekend, well, let us tell you about it. This is, I guess it started off the intention to be a tri-state regional, and ended
Yes.
up that was it. That was it, right? I think it actually the branding started saying like the first Smash Bros. Regional tri-state yada yada, and ended up turning into like a major essentially.
Yeah. We first found out about the event after the Players Ball back in August. Which feels like fucking forever ago when you really like put things into perspective.
It really
Like
does.
it's January already. Because we were all like, okay, what the hell's going on here? And then we got the announcement of a regional, and then we saw who was involved, and we're like, okay, this is good for us because a big problem that happens in the tri-state area is that it's really hard to find real estate to run events in, because things are very expensive. So, and then I don't know when it kind of caught the fire that it did, but eventually players like Void and Tweak got funded, and then carpools from Florida and Montreal ended up coming through, and then the snowball just started gaining size and started getting bigger, and yeah, it turned into so far the biggest Super Smash Bros. Ultimate tournament of all time in its short history.
Yeah, the short history of a month of the existence of Smash Ultimate, and I guess there's been a few, like we had Don't Park on the Grass a couple weeks ago, and that was who organized that tournament? I know VG Bootcamp was a stream on it, but who was like the actual organizer?
Don't Park on the Grass is run by Endgame TV.
Okay.
Yes, they handle most of the events out in the Pacific Northwest, so Colorado, Washington, that sort of area.
Yeah, so I think that was basically the first big one, and I don't even remember how many entrants it had. Did it?
It had, well, it was a multi-game event specifically for Smash Ultimate, though. As I scroll through the wiki page.
581.
581.
581.
And I guess Let's Make Moves ended up capping at 488, and it capped like about a month ago before the event actually happened, which conceivably you might think that if it didn't cap, it probably would have hit, I don't know, I honestly think it probably would have hit 1,000 entrants if there was like no cap on it, but maybe I'm over glorifying it, but like
No, I don't think you're off base with that, because like if this event was in like Cali or something, then like in my opinion, I feel like the entrant count would have seen very little of a rise, because it's California. If they miss that one, there's another tournament they can go to in like 3-4 weeks anyway. But I feel like everybody in Tri-State is so touch deprived for big events that if the event didn't cap there, I feel like this could have easily broken into the 4 digits, because there was people on Twitter that were like, fiending to buy spots off people, because they're just like, yo, man, you got any of those? You got any of that singles entrance that you mind swapping out? So
well, And the crazy part, even just about that, is because like right, that was I saw a lot of that leading up into it, and then even they were running a ton of promotions, and I know a big part of the success obviously is they were partnered with Nairo on this event. Them being EMG, which would be Max and Toronto Joe and that whole team, to promote the tournament. And as we all know, like Nairo has a killer stream. He's I would say the biggest Smash streamer outside of Zero, who's kind of hit like a different sort of realm of streaming because he was doing variety before Ultimate came out and all that. But between all the marketing, yeah, like you mentioned, it sort of just boomed. And between people trying to buy spots and everything else, like there was even a demand for people just to try and come hang out and like spectate, which I got to tell you, it was a different experience for me because I'm used to just trying to get anyone to show up for a tournament. Like also coming from Smash 4 experience, which we could kind of get into the month one of that, as you might see on the overlay versus the month one of Ultimate. But yeah, just the excitement in total was way more than I think I've ever seen around an event.
Yeah.
And I do think there's a lot of reasons for that, but
and I feel like Devin can kind of back me up on this one too. But when I found out where the event was being held, I kind of like fell back in my seat a little bit because the reason that Tri-State like kind of gets crapped on when it comes to like bigger events is that whenever out of region people come, they usually don't get home till like 5 o'clock in the morning because events like Qatar and stuff like that historically run very, very late.
I'm still waiting for my pool to finish.
Honestly, same, dude. But that's like a huge like thing for people, and I know tons of people that were like very, very pessimistic. They're just like, yo, man, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of entrants here, and like I'm kind of worried if this event's gonna like finish on time. Yada yada yada. And then when because I don't think I've been to a single event in that church that is ran on time.
Well, how
Never
many?
in my life.
How many? There's been a lot of tournaments there, right? And both of you guys are pretty well familiar. How many tournaments have run out of this venue, that church?
I've been to 4 Qatars in that building, but Devin's been around longer than I have, so I don't know how
this venue is the newest venue of Qatars that I know.
Right.
So
yeah.
Not including that office building.
Where the bathrooms kept breaking.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember there were like 2 churches before that. I remember the church with the well. That was a good one. That was like Qatar 4. But
church with the well.
Yeah, there's a well. That's a good one.
Gotta get that rainwater.
Yeah. Definitely not gonna go back in time for this topic, but like, yeah, I was
good thinking.
I think like he hosted that at that tournament. It might have been at that venue when what's it called? Even PlayStation All Stars just came out, so it was like a brawl and PSA tournament. So I think yeah.
Oh wow.
But yeah, no Qatar tournament that I know has ever like run like well.
No, man.
And, it burns a lot of people, which is really stupid.
Well, because like people come to the area, they make the trip out, and then they just end up leaving really angry because like their tournament ran terribly.
Good luck leaving New Jersey at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It's just like not a good time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think back like even comparing this to the first, like I don't want to call it a Qatar because this isn't a Qatar. It's a completely different entity. But like there's a Qatar the first month that Smash Wii U came out that was in that building that I think finished at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning with like J-Tails and Mewtwo King playing by themselves as the staff put all the chairs away.
Oh, wow.
So like to see like the difference, obviously like moving back into the past, like when I saw that, this venue was at like, we were at like what, 7, 8 o'clock and top 8 was like getting started. I was just like, oh shit, like we're ahead of like, this is great. This is fantastic. And that just speaks like, waves about, T.O. Joe and the people and the staff on board that were hired and picked. Like everybody like performed out of their ass this past weekend, and it was great.
So that actually brings up sort of wanted to mention is this tournament was super well received, and as you mentioned right off the get-go, Kupo, is that this area has been sort of like just hungry for a larger scale event that involves people from out of the area, and I would say that Tri-State in general has been sort of primed for this because there's been a number of events, and like Devin, you've been a part of a lot of these events just in the Northeast over the course of Smash 4's lifespan, where The events are always like they always kind of pop off. Like everyone's always like there's always like a good storyline. Someone's coming up. Like one of the locals does really well, and then the locals already recognizable from all like the other events. And like there's just like a very good energy around Tri-State to begin with. So then now we mix in like people from out of region, which kind of puts what was already in place here like on like a step above. So it's like I feel like this area was sort of primed for this kind of event, and the fact that everything did run so smoothly, I do think sets like a tone that I mean I didn't see at all anything close to in Smash 4, like in terms of like what an event can look like. Because like this ran in
yeah.
one day, like
Yeah, actually one day. Like we didn't pass 12.
I was in my bed by 1:30. That never happens.
Yeah, same.
dude, I was done with the secondary stream. I think at like 8 o'clock. I was so confused. I was like, wow, I can like pack up and
Yeah.
like, just kind of watch the rest of this.
You got to eat dinner with us for once, which is weird.
Yeah, dude, that never happens. But right, as I was saying, is this area, and this is something that even now with I don't want to get into the season 1 stuff yet, but like even now with like all of the real Ultimate stuff starting to kick off, like at least in New Jersey, like we're starting a PR season now as of like the first, moving in for the next 3 months, and this has all been like just an idea for the past couple months, sort of like waiting for this point in time. But the game's only been out for about a month, and then if you count like the early release it saw, like even almost like 2 months, like this has all seemed like such like a distant like vision, and then now it's like sort of being realized. So like for me, it was kind of like a surreal experience, just sort of seeing it all come together, and the fact that it did come together so smoothly, and all the pieces sort of were firing all together, like it's I don't know, man. Like these events could it would. I think Tri-State has a pretty good opportunity to really. It's already off to a great start, so it's strange to see. I'm almost like I'm having a hard time like putting the thought together. But like, yeah, man, this was an idea like a couple months ago.
And it was so good that there's going to be 3 more of them, which is an announcement that was made during the top 8.
Yeah, this is a quarterly now, which
Yeah.
I'm still figuring out because I know the next one is going to be
April.
It's in April, and I believe it's
Yeah.
essentially, I guess it's like fusing with Scarlet Classic, which is it was Scarlet Classic,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
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 Which is already something that always runs usually in April of Rutgers. So it's going to be interesting especially because it is going to, obviously, if it's Let's Make Moves, it's going to be Team EMG, which means that Collegiate Star League's involved. So I don't know, man. I actually am not sure exactly where this series is going, but like it's starting to take some form already. And I have no reason to believe that the next installment would not make as much waves as this one did. Like it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as like I mean, like, from my point of view, like the build up to this event was like, yeah, it was announced at Players Ball, and it was just kind of, at least for me, just kind of like, oh yeah, that's happening, and not too much like that I noticed until like the final come up for the tournament, like the past month was just like, oh okay, okay. Okay, like
It's all starting to piece together.
Yeah, it's becoming more real and more real. So I think as long as it has like a similar feeling to that, or just like a more looming effect just across for Tri-State and the country in general, then yeah, I think there's no way that the events won't be successful.
So the thing that I like to keep in mind is like there's been a pretty big emphasis, at least on like my end, and Devin, you do this too, because like you've been building up New York City forever now in terms of like the player base, and just like even between all the Xeno interviews and just the brackets that are always packed and condensed, like you already have characters coming out of your weekly that occupy something like Let's Make Moves. Just like in New Jersey, like we have players that come out to our monthlies, and we see at like Spectrum weeklies that go out to things like Let's Make Moves. I think specifically, like we saw Dre Charles, who's one of your regulars, put on like a really good showing, and play against some guys that he probably would have never played against if not for like a big event in this area.
Also raising the real questions: do Canadians refer to Canada as Sea World?
Yeah, that thread was hilarious. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what was funnier, the video of Bars just holding the wrap in his hand and not eating it, or
My
or
favorite.
the still, yeah, or the still that Nick took of the video of Z flipping off everybody, both of which were fantastic.
Dude, that was on stream. I got to catch that on at the
Yeah.
end, like because Aeon had the camera rolling. We had like the really cool wireless camera thing hooked up, and he was like just standing there waiting for the pop up. After I gotta see if I can find it, and like
That's great.
everyone just gets dead silent after Dre like kind of blows like this lead he shouldn't have blown, which is unfortunate. He played a fantastic set otherwise. But like everyone, like it looks like just like the wind's out from the sails of the crowd, and then you just see like middle fingers in the corner of the camera, just like bouncing up and down. I was like, oh my god, dude.
Not only just Dre though, shout out to Suarez for popping off and beating Cosmos.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
That was nuts.
While that set was happening, I literally leaned over because both streams were right next to each other, and I said to Chris, I was just like, make sure you switch the cameras quickly because Suarez has some pretty good pop-offs if he wins this.
Yep.
Yoshi double jumps right out of his chair. It's crazy.
Yeah, he got hype. But yeah, good on him, man. That was awesome. And like it showed me a couple of things, at least from this tournament, because all the sets that I got to see and watch were really, really cool. It shows me that the player gap is like not as big as you might think between some players. And also, but that could also be people still don't know what the fuck you're doing. Because like Wario won a tournament in 2 countries this weekend, mind you.
It's a top tier.
That F tilt is the funniest thing I've ever seen
Yo,
in my entire
man.
life. This guy
flap ass.
this guy walks up to your girl and smacks her on the ass. What do you do?
Mario's just a baseball player, man. He's just like
Yeah, that was interesting, and that was tweaked because otherwise I don't find the top 8 graphic, but like otherwise like the top 8 was riddled with foxes and Palutena. I think what was there like 4 foxes and 4 Palutinas or something, or 4 Palutinas and like 2 or 3 foxes, something like that.
It was ZD, Light, and Larry,
3 foxes.
who all play Fox, and then there was the Buzz, Nairo, Jen, and I think that's it for Palutenas, unless I'm missing one. I'm trying to think.
No, that's it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Because
Okay,
okay, Samsora is just Peach.
Yeah,
Right. And he had a really cool, good set against Sinji earlier too. Like
Mhm.
everybody super popped off this weekend, man. Like there's so many like good sets to watch. I think using Mr. E's words, he got baptized by Nick on stream, which is absolutely hilarious.
It's like when you get washed, but your third eye is open.
Yeah. When you get washed, but you're in church. But
Yeah.
the event itself, like delivered. Like it's one thing to host a big event; it's another thing to have like the storylines there to carry it. Mars and Samsora adding to their rivalry, which happened right behind me. And Mars always has like really good pop-ups also, so that was really cool to see. And then obviously Tweak beating somebody who, at least him and his Buzz's rivalry is very interesting because at the beginning of Smash 4, when Tweak played an awful character, things were like a lot different than they were now, since we kind of got the better of him near the end of the game. And it's kind of fun seeing them play different characters. So the event itself was just great, man. And I'm looking forward to what the next installment has in store.
Yeah, man. I want to drive this home just because like I do think it was a big deal. Like it's because I just saw like that. I don't know if you guys caught it, the Dre Charles clip. But anyways, like yeah, man, this area is just primed for it, dude. Like the players around here are generally excited, and that's kind of the nice part about Tri-State area is like you could hit a few different like states within like 3 hours. You know what I mean? So like there's a lot of players already familiar with each other, and now we're seeing that Smash 4 was so limited with the player base, but it was also still pretty like concrete for what it was. And then now it's like you have Ultimate where you have a lot of other personalities, like even some guys who were known in Melee or just didn't compete since Brawl who are coming out. Like, dude, like I have like Cable commentating and stuff. Like that's a guy you haven't seen since Brawl. like DM is involved. That's another guy who hasn't been doing Smash stuff since Brawl. So it's like you're seeing all these older personalities come back. So and they're meeting and seeing all these guys who have kind of been on the grind for the past 4 years. Like it's the culmination of things.
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey's always been the melting pot in the armpit of the East Coast. Now it's the melting pot in the armpit of Smash.
I like that.
I don't.
All right. Fuck that. It's stupid and I hate it. No.
All right.
No, I think it's cool, man, because like even New Jersey itself, like, not to get into the history because I don't really want to, but like there's been so many players in and out of this place, and then it was just like a dead zone because everyone hated Smash 4 at some point. So it's, seeing the lack of limitation from the game itself is definitely eye-opening. And because even from like a stream perspective, like Devin, like running the stream was like a lot of fun. We did I did a lot of things on the stream production wise that I don't think I've ever done. Learned a lot of stuff from you and just sort of seen things like that wireless camera, which was awesome. And
shout out to Gen Game. That was awesome,
dude.
That was so cool.
So cool. I want to see that all the time.
My favorite bit of banter that I did is when I would look at the webcam on the monitor and then flip back to the traveling cam, and then you and the Gen Game guy, I forget his name, I'm sorry. Trevor, yeah. You guys were just like perfectly like syncing back and forth to where it wouldn't look like I was looking away from the screen at all.
Yeah, dude, funny. It was cool. Like there's just like a lot of possibilities open, and I'm just thinking about how like it ran smoothly, and this is just me being like critical of myself, but like I'm just like there's so many things that just like didn't run optimally. Like I don't know, some people probably noticed or didn't notice, but like I'm just thinking about like even where that has to go. Like that's only going to go up and get better from here on out. And like this is like this whole thing strung together basically in the first month of the game, like where we're just starting like the power rankings in January. Like you had like a major status everything all occur already, which seems kind of crazy to me.
More giant Isabel plushies, please.
Oh yeah.
Less giant Isabel plushies, please.
Nah.
I mean, I don't even know where I stand on the Isabel plushie. I mean, they look nice.
I don't know. I just had fun having like, since I had no interaction with Koopa at Let's Make Moves, I'm just like like the stink guy the entire event.
Well, funny thing, so funny. I was supposed to be on the mainstream at some point, but Haz was so good in bracket that we ended up having to switch blocks. So yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, because Haz was advancing in bracket when he should have been commentating, but we don't ever get upset about that because that's pretty cool.
Not bad for a commentator. He beat a couple good people too. Like he beat Riz and he beat Sync. So
Oh, he beat Riz.
Yeah. He plays Richter.
All right.
Big Rick.
Big Rick.
Big Rick.
And Chris, you got your first experience with Brawl legend and Long Island native Coontail. So that must have been a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, dude. Coontail was cool, man. I had him on for a couple blocks straight.
He is awesome. Like if you guys, a lot of you newer kids probably aren't gonna know who Coontail is because he barely existed like in Smash 4, but he was the guy for Brawl. And like when I first started watching like competitive Smash sets, like the first set I watched was Mewtwo King vs. Salem, and I watched all 43 minutes of it. And I'm just like, yo, this guy's crazy good at what he does. And it was actually my first time meeting him in person. And it was really cool. I wish I got to talk to him more, but hopefully he's enticed and comes around more often.
He seemed like he was having a good time. At least, I mean, I had him on for 2 commentary blocks straight, man. Did a pretty good job as far as I'm concerned.
Champion.
So I guess we've already kind of talked about some of the older players and some of the older histories and the game's just starting out, and we've already alluded that like this has only been month 1 of this thing. Like the game's barely off the ground. So how does this stack up against like Wii U's start? Because I actually wasn't really around for this, but I know there's plenty of lore to be had.
So I did some digging. So Smash Wii U came out December 1st of 2014 or something like that. It came out like the first week of December.
The Wii U one did, and then the 3DS came out in like October or something.
Yeah, but who cares about that? That's a coaster in my room at this point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true.
So I went to do some research about major tournaments that happened the first month of 2014 for Smash Wii U versus this month. And what I came up with was two tournaments. One of which was the Come Up in Toronto, Ontario. Ironically, also produced by EMG, in which we saw Boreal Ally take first place over players such as DK Will and Nakat coming in third place. And some other throwbacky names like, Mewtwo King when he still played Diddy Kong, Meek Speedy, Sonic Man from Canada.
Wow.
Really,
Haven't heard that name in a while.
Damn, dude. And then shout outs to Max and Rapture, also the first casters for the first big tournaments of Smash 4 and Ultimate, respectively. Just seeing...
man, those my favorite like old school like esports look is like the off kilter commentators cam. You damn know that thing is not sitting up properly on the camera. But and the other tournament that I found was hold on as I scroll up. It was Double Vegas Down Attack number 5, which had 220 entrants, and at the time was the largest Super Smash Bros. Wii U tournament as of 2014, which was over in about 2 weeks after that, which saw Zero winning that one over Foe and Tyrant.
All right, well, those are a couple names, that's still stuck around.
So here's the big thing that I've seen, because the amount of tournaments that have happened between when the game came, at least major tournaments that have happened between when the game came out and now, was 5. So we've almost tripled the amount of tournaments he had. So there was Don't Park, the Umebura National that held in Japan the week. Right. Super Splat Bros.
Yep, that was a esports arena thing.
Yep, Let's Make Moves.
That was this thing that we're talking about a lot.
Oh, actually, it was 6. Now that I come to mind, because there was There was Ultimate Wanted in France this weekend, and then Midwest Mayhem Ultimate, which happened this weekend in Illinois.
And that was like the last one of those, right? That was like one of the first tournaments in, and like officially the last.
Yeah, so it's the swan song for events to compete. Joe has said he is stepping down. Oh my God, Devin, that picture's great. It is absolutely amazing. And I'm gonna need context for that later, but let me get this thought up before I lose it. But yeah, so Events to Compete has announced that this is going to be the last event that they're running, because the organization is disbanding, and that's kind of been the staple like regional series in the Midwest for years now that I think about it. And yeah, it definitely shelled out for its last one. And that's, I think, the big difference that I've seen so far, besides just the number of tournaments there are, is the amount of character variety there is. And I guess that's going to be a product of the environment, because there's 73 characters in the game. But when I looked at the Vegas tournament, out of the top 8, it's a lot of Diddy Kong and Sheik. Even throughout the whole like top 16, so. And then I'm looking at, Don't Park on the Grass, which had MVD win with Snake. And then you have, Wario's winning 2 tournaments this weekend. And then a character like Sonic, who's considered a low tier, winning a tournament this weekend. There's a whole lot of variety, just with all these characters and stuff like that. So I think that speaks for a product of how I think the game is very balanced, albeit like, just very clearly like, characters that are more popular than others. Like, we saw 3 Palutanas and 3 Foxes in top 8 of Let's Make Moves. But I feel like none of these top tiers are as like overbearing as like pre-patch Diddy and Sheik were, where it's just like anybody can pick up those characters and see some variant of success. Whereas I feel like the game mechanics and just the skill gap is kind of closed a little bit with this game. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that or not.
Well, I just think like the game, there was like the popular saying like get Smash forward and just like Smash 4 stuff. Like I actually didn't really buy into that necessarily until like I've seen Ultimate in action. There were a lot of things that just seemed like questionable physics in Smash 4. And like since I haven't seen those like really yet in Ultimate, I do think that what you said is kind of accurate, where like the skill gap maybe just isn't as big because like there's less variety and like weird things happening in the game. So it's like if you haven't quite figured out how to like work the system to your advantage, like it should really remain sort of diverse, which I would really like, despite the fact that we did just see like 3 Palatinas and 3 Foxes in a top 8. But I'll just chalk that up to like excitement over like a character that wasn't really good being really good in Palatina, and a character like Fox, which kind of feels like a copy paste from Smash 4 apparently.
Yeah, there
If
isn't
you-
like an
You're not from
exploitable.
Earth.
Wait,
If
what?
you're not from Earth, if you're not from Earth, you're gonna be good in Smash.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, you got space animals and people living on the godlike plane.
Yeah, deities
Yeah, dude,
from
she-
space.
She's a goddess, man.
Yeah.
I just wish he'd put more than one sock on, though.
So
I actually gotta take that back.
Keep your opinions to yourself, all right?
No, but like, and just kind of to add on what you were saying, there isn't an exploitable mechanic like there was like down throw up air or just down throw to imagination, like with what Diddy Kong and Cheek had. Like the top tiers in this game all feel like they have a.
Was the hoo-ha like discovered around this time? Because we're 3 weeks in.
I don't think so. Off the
Because
top of my head.
I remember, and I won't tangent this too far, but like I remember it was just like J-Tails was the one who found the hoo-ha for Diddy, and like he was like, "This is really good, guys," and you're like, he's like, "No, this is really good," and then he like won like the first K-Tar or something.
He won the first 3 K-Tars.
Oh yeah, see, let's go, Jules.
Wild. Yeah, for real.
But yeah, so like we haven't seen anything like that. But I guess now that you mentioned that, hoo-ha and stuff wasn't really found out in like Wii U for a little while. Like it's possible we just haven't seen that stuff yet.
If
like,
it was, it probably didn't have a name yet.
because
But,
like
I'm sure people knew.
Oh yeah, no, it didn't get a name for a while.
well, because
I
like
think it was just like it earned its name when what's that Sonic from Florida's name
is Manny.
Manny.
Static Manny.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about when he was like yelling in the crowd, "Who? Ha!"
Oh man.
I just found the first 2 months. Okay, yeah.
so
Yeah, that makes sense. Chat King SSB.
but yeah, man. So and then it's like there's so much like undiscovered stuff yet. And I feel like everyone's still playing the game really wrong in terms of like even the parry system. I think people are still figuring out because like you'll see
Right now, the only person who knows how to use it is Light. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a nut, dude. And Fox is, I guess, a little bit broken at this point, and so is Light. So between the two. But yeah, because I haven't.
Good.
Yeah, Light's pretty good, huh? But like, yeah, I haven't seen like even though like you did see 3 Palatinas, like she doesn't have anything really like broken. You know what I mean? It's just like a lot of people are using her. Like it's.
I mean, there's still reason for that, even though if the meta is still really old. Like, it is kind of interesting to say that like for our top 8, we had 3 Foxes and 3 Palus, so that's like 6 of the 8.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pattern to to keep in mind because if you see another large scale event with the kind of like caliber players that were at Let's Make Moves where you're seeing repeat Palatinas and repeat Foxes, then I guess we could probably deduce some conclusions from that. But
Yeah, but like, there's also the thing that's just like, you don't necessarily need to have a large character variety for a good game, because like look at Melee, right? They have 5 characters, and as long as it's fun to watch, that's all that matters. So, like, if the gameplay that we're getting right now, just in the current meta, is just like Palu, Fox, and some sprinkled other things, it's just like watching these characters. One, the game is brand new, so no one's gonna complain because everything is interesting. Even if you see the same thing, you haven't seen the same thing long enough for it to grate on you yet, because it's just like, okay, I'm beginning to see how many like situations that this applies to and stuff like that. Like right now, like no matter what you're watching is just data.
Yep, exactly.
yeah,
And I feel like Justin brought up a good point in the game is that I think it was pretty clear cut that like Diddy and Sheik were really good characters when Smash 4 came out, just because of how like their normals were busted and like they just had things that the other characters at the time just didn't have, to compete with it. at the time being. Like it was pretty clear that those characters are really good, and were like clearly the best in the game. Whereas characters like Inkling and Crom and Meta Knight for that short pirated time, where they were like considered like top tier characters that were broken, and like everybody's I've seen people put Yoshi and like Falco and these like weird ass characters in their like top tier list. So I think the contention for the top spot is pretty wide open, and I feel like we're not going to know anything until Genesis comes out or whenever we get like a really big patch that like changes things. So probably whenever Piranha Plant comes out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's fresh, and like Devin said, it's all data. It's just nice to look at. Poor KK Slider having to play through another weekend where there's fights that break out at his tournaments. Like
I feel like he kind of causes it, man. He comes out and plays the same song every single weekend, and he expects people to not like rage a little bit. Like
he's that guy at karaoke that only knows how to sing is Freebird and Wonderwall.
Exactly, man.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta mira atsu mira, like.
Devin, you've listened,
Oh,
you've streamed way too many events on Saturdays, and Zeno you use that for like your weekly too, right?
Yeah, for Smash 4 we had the Wii U set to Saturday on Wednesday.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah, you've heard it so many times.
Hey, and the Brawl days, like there's like another 10 years of that.
Let me just say, after this weekend, I can't believe how many people still like. Although that song, I don't think you could like pick a song that isn't that, can you?
Well, on Saturday?
Yeah.
no, it's random.
But because like I was gonna say, I'm surprised to see so many people still going with like traditional Smashville and Town and City music. Like that was like one of the things I was most excited about when the game came out. I was like, wow, new music.
It needs to be a requirement that systems used for nationals need to have beaten Worlds of Light so we can customize the music settings on it.
Yeah,
I actually really agree with that because I was thinking like I'm trying to get my setup. I'm trying to beat World of Light like this week for Platinum Star, like just so we could have good menu music. Although I'm sure James already beat it, but anyways, yeah, man. Like there's that's the other thing. Like there's inevitably going to be patches for this game. I don't know.
Yeah, Piranha Plant comes out in February. They said we don't know when, but it's probably going to be sometime after Genesis. I'd say like the middle of February. So
all I know is I did
so close,
dude. That's really close. That's what I'm saying.
When did we get? We didn't get the first DLC character for. When did we get Mewtwo? I'm trying to remember.
Was Mewtwo the first DLC character?
He was the first.
Yeah,
one.
because he was the Piranha Plant of Smash 4, where like if you bought both versions of the game, you got him for free.
Wow,
yeah,
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, if you had 3DS and Wii U, then you just got Mewtwo code, and that was it. But the thing is, like, did they say Piranha Plant was limited time? How's that gonna work? I know where they
it came out.
What is
April 15th, 2015.
Jesus. Yeah, so it was a full year after the game came out.
Yeah.
A year and a half. So the thing with Piranha Plant is that I think if you register the game before a certain date, then it's free. But after that, it's going to be paid DLC, which is not a part of the players pack, which is what Joker is a part of.
Yeah, you know what I will say, as I'm just kind of looking at the last bit of this VOD, and it's sort of like I guess kind of in the same idea as like the first month of the game. Like there's so many SDs this weekend, like of silly just things, like someone air dodging when they shouldn't have, like where they may have in Smash 4 and then just end up dead. We saw Venya do that, and like just realizing the end of this Nairo and Larry set was basically Nairo SDing. Like there's been a lot of SDs, man. It's funny to see people just starting to get to know the game as I really think about it.
Something I'm doing for Xeno is, like, you know how I stitch together all the finishers of every set?
Mm-hmm.
I'm also stitching together all the SDs.
That's,
and I'm calling
dude,
it 36.
That is brilliant, actually. That's pretty brilliant.
Yeah. That is amazing.
I don't get enough per one tournament to do it, so I'm probably gonna make it like a monthly thing. So I'll catch it after like the 4th Smash Ultimate Xeno.
Yeah, man, they're accumulating. And speaking of which, I want to move on to this now because it's something I'm the most excited about is the whole season 1 concept, and it's basically. This is an idea that's starting in New Jersey as just sort of like, I think of it as like a pilot. It just makes intuitive sense to me, where it's like, okay, the game just came out. We're a month in. Everyone's all about the PR. We just finished out the last one with 4. And since it's January, we could literally follow the seasons. So it's like if you have numbered seasons, it's easy to watch. Like it's basically what Overwatch does. It's like what other competitive games do. And I sort of think it's going to be the wave moving forward. But like, yeah, man, because when you kind of like look back at all these like early tournaments, things really do change. And seasons, like even like this podcast is now part of a season. Like it's the kind of whole culmination of like what was going on in that time period. So this felt like such like a one of those other things we were mentioning earlier, where it's like just an idea for a long time. But this has been in the work for a while now, and like it's just beginning. So this game feels like it's been out for an eternity for me, and then now this like whole thing is just starting, like technically season 1. But yeah, man, I actually do think this is an idea that could sort of like expand.
Yeah, I know that there's a weekly in Connecticut that did this for a while, where they kind of like broke up things by seasons. I do think it would just make things easier.
Was
It's
that
one thing if it catches on?
was that for 4?
What's up?
Was that for
What?
Smash 4?
What
Yeah.
specifically are you
Yeah.
guys talking about? I feel like I'm kind of in the dark for this.
So you're not in the dark. This is actually just something like I've been trying to conjure up, and like I've been talking like even with RJ about, and like he's doing it now for the tri-state circuit, where essentially instead of just having like here's winter 2019 and spring 2019 and all of that summer 2019, you're just gonna have a numbered season, which is pretty similar to like what happens in like esports like Overwatch. Like even in game, like if Nintendo was a little bit more with it in terms of like nurturing the competitive audience, they'd probably do it. Where it's like, okay, so you have the first 3 months of like your ELO rankings if you're Overwatch, and that's a season. And then like you go into the next season, which is season 2, which is basically just after 3 months. So the idea is that you have a growing number of seasons based off of the beginning of the game and moving forward. So like in this case, I just think it makes things a lot more easier to like track, because then you could see what players are active at certain times based off a number of seasons and like results and character meta and stuff like that. Like instead of just like citing years, because like I always think about ways to make this stuff more watchable, and this feels like one of those ways. So I guess like one of my ambitions is to essentially roll this out locally and sort of like prove the concept and be like, listen, like this can work essentially. So that's all this is. You're not really in the dark as much as it's like something I'm kind of trying to
Okay.
piece
'Cause,
together.
like, yeah, because like we do
It's
our
basi-
PRs quarterly, so we write quarter 1, quarter 2.
So right,
quarter
it's made to follow the PR seasons initially, and then now I'm kind of trying to blow it up because I'm just like, oh well, it could be other things too. So basically, the seasons would correlate with the PR seasons, basically.
Think Fortnite.
I have literally never played Fortnite, nor have I watched a game of Fortnite.
Yeah.
Wow.
I only know
Wow.
about dances. Yeah.
Well, guess what, man? Fortnite has a huge player base and apparently a big audience and lots of money around it. So
all right,
I'm,
smartass.
I'm trying to duplicate it. That's all.
Did anybody? Did anybody watch Ninja's New Year's Eve special? Because I didn't.
What
I
the hell is that?
I remember you mentioned
Oh,
this a long
oh,
time ago.
God.
What is it?
No,
All right, so-
let's not get into this.
No,
I don't
no,
know
no,
what
no,
this is. I'm afraid.
You're in my house. It's fine. So basically, if you have cable TV on New Year's Eve on all like the nationally syndicated channels like NBC and ABC, they all have their own respective New Year's Eve shows. And this year, Twitch approached Ninja, and they gave Ninja, who's the #1 Fortnite streamer, if you need to be mansplained like Devin.
I know that much.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Allow me to mansplain.
Allow me to mansplain. So Fortnite is a video game. A video game is excuse me. Yeah, so Ninja basically had a New Year's Eve special that was streamed on Twitch. And this is the first I'm seeing of it because like it was raining all day yesterday. So I wasn't sure how this is all gonna like work out because like poor Ryan Seacrest is gonna have the worst like head cold of his life.
Really earning his money
And
yesterday.
It's like, dude, like these poor people, like standing by the barricades wearing diapers to like be on national TV.
Insane that people still do that, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but Ninja, it looks like he had his own studio. It's amazing that he got a studio, and Ryan Seacrest got a really shitty rain jacket.
Dude, yeah, and he's like with the homies too. These are all just Twitch streamers. Like, this is amazing. This is the future of entertainment, dude. Like, this is it. You're seeing it. No one wants to hang out in the rain outside New York on New Year's. Like you'd rather just be comfortably sitting in a nice environment with pink hair playing a video
Yeah.
game.
Dude, people were like people wore adult diapers to like go in them just so like they
Dude,
can stand by the barricades
this
on
is
New
nuts.
Year's.
I didn't watch
Yeah.
this. I'm looking at it right now. This is
Oh,
crazy.
I mean, you guys are from New Jersey. This is what I'm used to.
Jeez,
Like
man.
watching the ball drop. Like,
This is Tuesday.
yeah, dude. Everyone just.
Look,
You know how hard it was for me to get home. Like,
Probably very.
yeah. Fucking how many detours? Like we took a cab ride home. It was like 2 a.m, and like just the amount of detours we had to take because of traffic and like streets blocked off. It's just like, yeah, I know this was gonna happen.
I mean, I just can't wait for the Let's Make Move New Year's Twitch party. That's what I'm waiting for.
Shout outs to Ryan Seacrest trying to floss. That was the funniest thing I think I've seen in my entire life. It was so funny.
Dude, this is pretty crazy. I remember you mentioned this a long time ago, and I never followed up on it. And sure enough, here it is. Wow.
When's Ninja's Valentine's Day special?
I guess Valentine's Day, right? I wonder.
He can't play with any girls.
Dude,
remember,
Oh God.
It's gonna just
remember,
be.
he's
It's
not allowed
just.
to.
It's just gonna be him kissing Tim the Tap Man.
He doesn't allow himself. He can only play with his wife. That's his own rule.
So if you're a wife, you're not a girl.
No, only his own wife. That's it.
This is getting weird.
Do you not remember this?
Oh, I do. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm just being weird.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
Dude, Fortnite's crazy. This is nuts. The amount of stuff that is around this.
No.
Wow.
To answer
at
King
this.
X's question, Ninja
Look at
alluded
this.
to that he was going to do something with Smash, but we don't know what that is yet. What are
Yeah,
you
he
looking
did
at?
make that one tweet and it was just like, be on the lookout, Smash community or something like that. And I
He's-
was like,
he's-
oh, all right. Eyes
He's,
emo.
he's going to be DLC.
Dude, he really might be.
I'm in Smash.
Because what's going to end up happening is Smash will build up a little bit, and then Twitch as a common platform, having people like
Oh,
Ninja,
no,
the
this-
influencer, like it's.
This is the video.
Oh, hold on. Wait, let me put it back. Okay.
No. I see it. We're good.
I actually haven't. So, oh man, this is.
It's really funny.
Oh man, this is bad. I don't actually want to watch this, but I'm going to. And if you're sitting through this audio only, by the way, it's literally just Ninja flossing in front of like New York,
and then trying to get everyone else to
and
do it.
everyone everyone trying to do it and not being very good at it or looking really a kind of way. But hey, man, they're having fun. They're having a lot of fun. That's cool.
Imagine making enough money to like be able to get people to floss in a fucking wetsuit.
One day, man.
Like, gee, I wish.
Man can dream. Dude, this is crazy. I'm sorry. This is the first time I've seen this footage, so I'm just sort of taking it in here.
Please stay tuned for our Ninja in retrospect episodes happening never.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, what else we got
So
today?
So we were. I think we're almost about at an hour. So I don't know if you want to move into that thing that I talked about earlier.
Yes. The
To
thing.
wrap things up.
The thing.
Okay. So as you can see, the podcast is taking a little bit of a format change. We're gonna try to go for smaller calls to get more intimate quality content.
Hey, baby.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, nuke the VOD, Chris. But
I already ended the stream, dude.
oh boy, sick.
Like 20
So,
minutes ago.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to cut down on the smaller calls or on the bigger calls.
Increase the smaller calls.
Yeah,
Cut down on the big
that's
calls.
what I mean. Sorry, I'm so hungover from yesterday. We're gonna have more quality over quantity calls. Like obviously the big calls are fun. So that's it's just for our sake to make things easier. So we're probably gonna keep it 3 to 4 for the foreseeable future, unless there's a big event that happens, and then we can kind of go crazy with people with good internet. But the other thing we're gonna do is that since we kind of nuked the local spotlight, which we're stay tuned for an update on that because
Yeah, there's definitely more coming on that. I just want these to be a little bit different, quite honestly.
Yeah. So basically, there's radio shows they listen to that do a segment called "Who Won the Weekend," where it's which sports team did the best out of the X mainstream sports. So I figured it'd be cool that at the end of every week we kind of give praise or a shout out to a performer of the to someone who did really well over the weekend. So how about we start with Devin, because there's no way he's prepared.
Hit me, baby.
So who's your shout out of the week? Who performed the best in your eyes? Someone you want to give note to?
I'm just gonna always talk about Zeno, baby. So let's go, Venya. Taking it over light at Zeno 141. Can't wait to see what happens in Zeno 142. But yeah,
it was a good week for House because Venia won Zeno, and then Jen got top 8 at Let's Make Moves. So
yeah, actually, yeah, dude, the boys are pulling in. They're pulling through, dude.
Yeah, I'm super happy for Alan, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I am too.
He's
so close to beating Larry both times.
Dude, and then Dre almost beating Venom, like.
Yeah, dude, SeaWorld wasn't going to be the same.
All right, Chris, you got anybody you want to give a shout out to?
I got a couple. And this is like I guess this sort of spans scenes. Is I've been seeing Mr. E go to a ton of tournaments, and he's always performing, dude. Like he won Aeon this past week. He placed in. He got second at Reality Royale, which is this really big tournament in Allentown, Pennsylvania. It was like this tournament blew up. It had like 130 something entrants, and with the likes of Blazing Pasta, Sandstorm was there, 6WX, Gons was there. So like it wasn't like a light bracket, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't a fluffy 130 something. It was like a stacked bracket. So he's won, and then I obviously have to give Gons a lot of credit because I forget how many tournaments he said he's been going to, but over the past few weeks he's gone to like at least like 3 tournaments a week between like weeklies and then big tournaments. It's kind of nuts, and he's been getting some results, although still looking pretty shaky. And then Blazing Pasta, dude, like he's been kind of lighting it up. He's been winning all the bears. He won that Reality Royale tournament. Would have liked to see him come out to Let's Make Moves though, especially considering how well GWJ did, man.
He probably got bodied by the cap.
He probably did get bodied by the cap. You're right.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you alluded to GWJ because he was going to be one of mine.
I knew it, dude. I knew it. That's why I didn't use it as my main one.
Well endowed Johnny.
Yeah. Well endowed William. Yeah. So Barn GWJ. He's a very good friend of mine. I've known him since I got into the scene, and he's always been someone that's been like on the cusp of being really good. Like he's been top 5 in Philly for the better end part of Smash 4, and he beat Kool-Aid and he beat Larry this weekend and took a game off a Tweak, going pretty much all Rob for the most part. And I'm super thrilled for him. He got 9th place at a really stacked tournament. The second person I'm going to give note to is Ken, who won Midwest Mayhem this weekend.
Oh yeah, dude.
So I love Sonic.
Japan Ken?
Yeah, Japan Ken.
Yeah, dude, he was at this tournament.
Yeah, so he won the tournament. I believe he played Bushi in grand final.
You are correct.
Yeah, so it was Bushi, and then T got 3rd. T beat Fatality, which is wild. So actually, no, it's not. He's done that before. Yeah.
Wow, dude, those guys were all in the Midwest this weekend, huh?
Can I get the bracket to this? Like,
I got you right now.
Wow, I didn't realize that was the case. That's cool, man. Yeah, those guys all in the Midwest.
So this event had Ken, T, and Raito in attendance.
Japan
Raito? I hope so.
Nah, I think this is Missouri Raito.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that guy.
yeah, he's the best, dude.
Yeah, so Sonic's a character that's kind of fallen on deaf ears since the game came out. A lot of people are kind of swearing off him. Good. But, hey, listen, I still think he's pretty mediocre. No, but I think it shows that Sonic still has a place in the meta for the most part. Because you see Ken obviously win this tournament and Six having success for the most part in Philly. So I'm excited as someone that likes Sonic. I hope that
It looks like
this continues to develop.
he looks like he kind of bodied too, because what the grands that I have on screen is Ken up 2-0 and the VOD's almost over on winner's side. So
Is
Yeah.
Bushi Japanese too?
No, it looks like he's
yeah, he looks
he looks like he's from Wisconsin. or
yeah,
something. I don't
Alright.
know.
for sure. Looking.
I gotta
like,
say,
what do you gotta say?
no, I was gonna say watching Sonic versus Snake just gives me war flashbacks. This matchup was fucking garbage brawl. I'm so sad, but yeah, shout out to Sonic. I hope the Sonics start losing now, so that way Sonic is eventually the victim of a hoo-ha patch when inevitably is down the road.
Dude, I'm just I'm sorry. I'm looking at this VOD and I'm just looking at the room setup. This looks like a really cool tournament. But I'm just like, even if like you kind of compare the crowds from like Midwest to like this area, it's pretty dramatic. Like the difference. Wow.
The Midwest Mayhems usually have like very varying levels of entrants that show up. I think it's mostly because they're never in the same place more than once.
Well, it's a big area too.
Yeah, they're constantly like different parts of Illinois. But yeah, good weekend for tournaments, guys.
Yeah, man, we're only getting started. This is actually this is all going to scale up a lot, and there's going to be so much to come up in later times because you're going to be seeing a lot more events pop up, and honestly, the way attendance has been, who knows, especially over this winter break in terms of how many people are going to be out and going to tournaments, because you're going to see a lot of new ones coming up. You're going to see a lot of new players coming out and entering, a lot of more people interested, something that's way more different than like the beginning of like Smash Wii U. And I've alluded to this in every episode, just the fact that so many people own a Nintendo Switch now, and Smash being like the game, it's going to be
Xeno's average is still over 100 right now.
and dude, it's going to be. You're going to be. I bet you Xeno ends up. Did you say you were going to start capping?
Potentially, yeah. We're still like playing around with like table layouts to see like how we can make things fit. Also, we're just gonna kick out the Yu-Gi-Oh players. LOL. So
Beat
I
it,
think,
nerds.
Friend of the podcast, J Dog, tweeted earlier. I think he got the Xanadu like 2 hours early, and they already had 80 entrants.
Insane, dude. I think
Yeah.
I saw they ended up with 150 plus today. If I
Yeah,
which on a Tuesday night, Tuesday night, New Year's, school night, work night, all those things, 150 people out to play.
wild.
Like let that sink in, because that's not the only area this is happening. Obviously, New York, like Devin, you're getting 130 plus. Even a little Spectrum Weekly in Central New Jersey, that place is getting like 60, 70 people. I'm gonna be doing a cap at Platinum Star because I think I have to. Yeah, man. The events are all capping out, so that's why I'm of the firm belief where there's almost, not that there's no such thing as too many events, because there is, but having planned events in different areas to capitalize on all the new players just trying to get out and play is a really good thing. So
yeah, no, we're oversaturated with players, so it's good that we have.
you want
like,
events, like you want them
Yeah.
out, yeah, for sure, and I'm just sort of happy to see that come to fruition, because I've been saying this for a long time. Like that's the goal, man. Like you want as many possible players as you can, and then you figure it out from there. You know what I mean? Like, because there was a shortage of that in Wii U. Like there was a shortage of players, but no shortage of excitement at some points. So with the lack of player problem solved, I'll be pretty excited moving forward. So
And I'll go to bed early anyways. That's fine.
Hey
Yeah,
man, we've been getting more each week has had more attendance than the last, and we've been finishing earlier than the last. So figuring it out.
looking like we are, yeah, man, figuring this shit out. This is I will say, this is like where all of the practice in Smash 4 comes in handy. I don't even want to think about starting like to learn how to organize or stream at this juncture, dude. It's crazy. Like it feels like the practice finally taken off, because like I don't know, how many Xenos have you run, whether it be from like 50 people to now 130 plus. Like you just eventually get good.
Yeah.
That's bottom line. But all right, that's gonna wrap it up for us.
Yeah, so let us know what you guys think about the smaller, more intimate formats, because I feel this would lend itself well, because I think we can start doing like, interviews and like talks with like, our guests a little bit more, because usually we just kind of get the guests and we kind of throw them into the fire of the memes. So
Yeah, there's a lot of memes and also as far as format goes, I've been a little bit overworked in terms of just things I'm doing. So I do have a lot of things I'm going to be trying to integrate into this podcast moving forward. And as Koopa already mentioned, we will be trying to line up more specific guests for more topical things. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have like this recording time that we're doing right now. Like this is essentially like the content, which is also something I'm going to be working on making better. And then after like the actual like content is recorded, I'll probably just blow it up into more of an open call kind of hangout. We'll actually play the game in like a lobby and just sort of chill for the night. And I think that'll be pretty fun. So you know what I mean? Like so we get sort of like the best of both worlds. We get to sort of hone in on the main topics for the week and kind of have something capped off and digestible. And then after that, we just sort of have some fun. So and then we will be introducing some local spotlight stuff that'll be its own separate entity, or maybe it's a tournament recap in general. Hoping to do that in conjunction with some other guys working on some stuff, but all work in progress. And this is the start. So yeah, that's it, guys.
yeah, thanks for hanging out with us this week, Devin.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun.
Yeah, man, this one came together a little last minute, but I'm glad you were able to join.
Go fall into a coma until you have to run in a 130-person tournament
I
tomorrow.
have tomorrow, man.
Yeah, man, you're gonna be busy tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
Sleep.
but we'll be watching, so that's good.
Yep. See you guys.
All right,
Have a good night, everybody.
see you later next week.